Alright, continuing part 2, Enforcement Guidelines, Hazardous Liquid Integrity Management, part 195, March 18th, 2013, 195, 452B, Pipeline Integrity Management, High Consequence Areas. What program practices must operators use to manage pipeline integrity? Each operator of the pipeline covered by this section must develop a written integrity management program and address the risk on each of the segment of the pipeline. First column of the following table is no later than the dates of the second column. Category 1, date March 31st, 2002. Category 2, February 18th, 2003. Category 3, 1 year after the data pipeline begins operation. 2, in line with the program identification of each pipeline and pipeline segment in the first column of the following table no later than the date in the second column. Pipeline and category 1, date December 31st, 2001. Category 2, November 8, 2002. Category 3, date of the pipeline begins operation. 3, include the program and plan to carry out the baseline assessment of the line pipe as required by the paragraph C of the section included with the program framework that addresses the one, address each of the integrity management program under the paragraph F of the section, including continual integrity assessment and evaluation under the paragraph J of the section. 2, initial indicate that how decision will be made to implement each of the implement of the following program, following recognized incident practice C, and carry on out the section unless the section specifies the otherwise. The operator demonstrate the alternative practice supported by the reliable engineering evaluation provides equivalent level of public safety and environmental protection. Origin of Code 195.7065, Federal Register 75378, December 1st, 2000. Latest amendment, interpretation, summary, advisory, bulletin, alert, notice, and summary. Other references, material, and source. ABI 1168, Managing System and Integrity with the Hazardous Liquid Pipelines. Latest edition. Federal Register, Volume 65, Number 232. Friday, December 1st, 2000. Rules, Regulation, page 75383. Pipeline Hazard Safety. Hazard Liquid Integrity Management Frequently asked questions. What recognized industrial practice? What can operatively use an alternative recognized industry practice? 2. When do the rules apply to more than line pipe? 3. When must pipeline segments subject to the rule identified? 8.5. What is the framework? 8.6. What integrity management program? 8.15. The integrity management portion of the Rule 195.452F applies to all portions of the pipeline segment that have the high consequent area, including the pump station, terminal with another equipment OS, and operated due to comply with the rules of facility. 8.17. Can a pipeline integrity management program required with the 195.452 be part of the broad corporate safety integrity management system as described in the API Application 9100A Model Environmental Health and Safety Management System? Guidance. 195.452B establishes the operator must implement the integrity management program. It also provides deadlines for the different categories of the hazardous liquid pipeline. Deadlines current operating pipelines have passed. Thus, all current operating pipelines should have either the integrity management program in place for its line segment that could have a high consequence area, and under orders of the PHMSA or stay with the regulatory development of the new pipelines operating in less than 1 year. Practically, requirements of 195.452B apply to newly constructed pipelines. Pipelines formerly have no segments could affect the high consequent area, but have no such segments. Example of the latter would be population expansion and encroaching upon right of way. 2. Preamble. The final rule clarified that integrity management addresses more than material issues line pipe, but others issues such as the adequacy of procedures, operator training, other issues related with pipeline facility. Federal Register, Volume 65, Number 232, Friday, December 1st, 2000. Rules and Regulations, page 753089. If the operator does not include the pipeline facility having a high consequence area in the integrity management program, 195.452B2 should be cited. Generally, subparagraphs of 195.452 are cited only when the operator fails to specify the action required by the subparagraph. For example, if the operator newly constructed pipeline in Category 3 does not develop the plan, conduct the baseline assessment of the line pipe, 195.452B3 would be cited. However, the operator to develop a baseline assessment for the new pipeline but is deficient or inadequate, the operator would be cited for the specific deficiency in the plan. For example, if the operator justified the assessment method selected did not provide the evaluation risk for the factors considered established schedule 195.452C13 should be cited. Preamble. The Federal Register notice for the final rule clarified that the operators must have alternative practice 195.452B6. However, the operator must document the practices must be and be able to provide the documentation of operation pipelines safety inspection personnel to review during the field inspection. Federal Register, Volume 65, Number 232, Friday, December 1st, 2000. Rules and Regulations, page 75383. 5. In 2009, new requirements were used in rural low-stress pipelines that could affect the Unified Segment Area 195 and 12B with the established categories low stress and analogous 195 452A 195 12C 1 and 195 12C 2-1 provided defined with the segment of the unified segment area must be identified analog 195 452B2 if thus the operator failed to identify segments of the roll area stress line with the unified segment area should be cited with the under the applicable subparagraph 195.12c with the category of the pipe of the unified segment area of the section of the guidelines 195.12. Selected final order reference 195.452B1. Consenix Harvick State Cooperative Incorporated, March 3rd, 2006. Newly constructed pipeline having a good effect for the high consequence implemented the integrity management program before being placed in service. Bayou City Pipeline, June 21st, 2006. The pipeline segment of the question was not covered due to the parent company integrity of the management plan during the period before it was sold with the CBG. Golden Valley Electricity Association, July 7th, 2009. At the time of the inspection, operator has developed the integrity management program February 18th, 2003. Selected final orders reference 195.452B2 Bayou City Pipeline Incorporated, June 12, 2006. Identification segment that could affect the high consequent area was not completed until almost 30 years after the deadline. Navajo National Oil Gas Company, June 21st, 2006. Time of the inspection, Navajo National Oil Gas Company has analyzed the potential effect of the pipeline failures that could affect high consequence area of the pipelines other than those that directly intersect with the high consequence area. Key pipeline limited to December 11th, 2006. The operator was unable to present with the documentation showing the completed segment of identification category 2 pipeline and with the mandated deadline approximately 17 months. Murphy Oil, December 1st, 2005. The operator had developed an identification category 2 pipeline integrated management plan. They failed to develop selecting final orders reference 195.452B3. Area Energy Limited Liability Company, March 6, 2009. Operator integrity management program failed to include the baseline assessment plan by the required deadline of the regulation. Selecting final order reference 195.452B4. Link Energy, June 23rd, 2004. Operator failed to adequately address 4 elements required to be included in the written integrated integrity management program. Pipelines of the Puerto Rico, April 13, 2006. Operator did not have the framework to address each of the elements under paragraph F of the section. Selected final order reference 195.452B5 of the Airline USA LP, August 6, 2009. Operator failed to develop an adequate written integrity management program on and before March 31st, 2002. They did not develop the documentation showing the written integrity management program plan work and play for the deadline with the implemented integrity management program. For example, the probable violation and adequate procedure failed to develop a written integrity management program the days prescribed 195.452B1. Integrity management program was not played with the newly constructed the converted pipe within 1 year of the pipeline began operation. 195.452B1. 3. Failure to identify the address of the risk of each of the segment of the pipeline that could have the effect for the high consequence area with the DAT was prescribed in 195.452B1. 4. Failure to complete the segment identification included with these segments for the integrity management program by the dates prescribed in 195.452B2. Failure to identify the pipeline segment that could affect with the highest consequence area that construct for the diverted and pipeline date with the peg in with the 195.452B2. Failure to include the pipeline facility integrity management and not just Wi-Fi but the facility that could not affect with the high consequence area. The failure to develop the baseline assessment 195.452B3. 8. Failure to develop the baseline assessment with a newly constructed or converted pipeline within 1 year of the pipeline began operation. 195.452B3. Failure to develop an integrated management program framework with address all the required programs. 195.452B4. Failure to implement and follow with the integrity management program 195.452B5. 11. Failure to follow the recognized industry practice with the carry out of the requirements 195.452 and is required with the 195.452B6 even unless for the regulations or otherwise. 12. Failure to demonstrate the reliable engineering evaluation that in an alternative practice provide the equivalent level of public safety and environmental protection 195.452B6. 2. Depending on the circumstances that some of the examples listed in the section may be the inadequate plan with the perceived not probable violations of the enforcement tool of the address of the issue of the notice of the noticeable probable violation of the warning letter. Section 3. Enforcement procedure that would given guidance for the selecting the appropriate enforcement action. Example, the evidence integrity management program plan or program applicable portion show the omission of the deficiency of the plan or program integrity management plan framework. 3. Baseline assessment plan. 4. Records demonstrate the deficiency and inadequacy. 5. Document conservation of the conversation with the operator with the contractor personnel with the 5, the inconsistent deficiency and inadequacy regarding the integrity management program. 6, master other records showing assets, including integral management program. Other special notations. Alright, enforcement guideline has Liquid Integrity Management Part 195 Revision 3/18/2013 Code Section 195-452C Baseline Integrity Management High Consequence Areas Existing Code Language. C. What must the baseline assessment plan what must be in the baseline assessment plan. Operative must include each of the following elements of the right and baseline assessment plan. Method is selected. Assess to the integrity of the line pipe for the operative. The must assess the integrity of the line by any of the following methods. The operator select for the low frequency electrical resistant weld pipe lap. The weld the suspectable longitudinal seam failure must be capable of assessing seam integrity with the order detecting corrosion, deformation, anomalies. Inspection tool for the tools capable of detecting corrosion, deformation, anomalies, including dents, gouges, and grooves. B. Pressure testing conducted in accordance with subpart E of the SPAR. C. The external corrosion direct assessment in accordance with 195-588. Or D. Other technology with the operator demonstrate that provide with equivalence to understanding of the condition of the line. Pipe operators chosen the head for the option notified the office of pipeline safety within 90 days before conducting the assessment with the sending of the notice of the address, fast amount of the number specified in the paragraph M of the section. 2. The schedule of the leading integrity management. 2. An explanation of the assessment method is selected for the evaluation risk factors given the establishing assessment schedule. 2. An operator must document with the prior implement any changes of the plan, modification of the plan, modification. Original code 1857065 Federal Register 75378 December 2000. Last amended 958570 Federal Register 61576 October 25th 2005. Interpretation summaries advisory bulletin alter notice and summary other reference material. API 1160 managing services some integrity with the hazard liquid latest edition. Spike hydrostatic testing evaluation. Michael Baker Jr. July 2004. Report of the use of line inspection tool for the assessment pipeline integrity general physics 2002. Overview integrity assessment methods Robert J. E. Consultant Incorporated number 2003. Low frequency lap weld longitudinal seam evaluation section 5.0 Michael Baker Associates April 2000. Pipe wrinkle study with section 3.0 Michael Baker and Associates October 2004. Then study section 4 Michael Baker and Associates November 2004. Stress corrosion cracking section 6.0 Michael Baker and Associates January 2005. Inspection guideline timely response to geometric defects section 3 and 4 Michael Baker and Associates July 2004. Mechanical damage section 6.1 Mechanical Baker Jr. April 2009. Report use of line inspection tool for the assessment pipeline integrity general physics corporation 2002. Part 185 Appendix C4 type of internal inspection tools used for the PHMS liquid integrity management supplemental guidance document baseline assessment plan. Federal Register volume 65 number 232 Friday December 1st 2000. Rules and regulation page 75 396 PHMSA has liquid integrity management frequency questions. 2.3 does require the rule apply to the idle pipe. 4 what is the assessment plan? 4.2 what is must be a baseline assessment plan? 4.3 under the condition should the baseline assessment be modified. 4.4 what must baseline assessment be completed. 4.5 how did the required days completing 50% of the when 100% of the assessment applied with the category 2 pipeline that acquired with the line operative that had more than 500 miles of pipeline May 29, 2001. 4.7 when an operator consider the prioritization pipelines within the assessment reassessment. 4.9 and 1 operators speak with the way with the PHMSA pipeline safety in order to change the assessment schedule for the initial baseline assessment plan have been developed. 4.11 ensure the operators archive the previous version of their assessment plans for the PHMS pipeline safety keep track changes for these plans over time. 4.13 for the purpose of meeting the deadlines completing baseline assessment data assessment. Consider the day of the when with the tool ran to complete with the preliminary data that was received the evaluation line inspection result complete. 4.15 operator develops a single baseline assessment that covers both the intra and the interstate of the pipeline. Does need the complete assessment of the 50% of the pipeline mileage that can affect with the high consequence area applied with the interstate and intrastate line segment to justify intrastate line segment's mileage should they come any plan identified within the line segment of the intra and interstate. 4.16 with a specific information company with the baseline assessment of the PHMSA pipeline safety except for the retained inspection file for the example of PHMS pipeline safety with the retained boundary segment that could have affected the high consequence area of the assessment method of the segment of the days of these segments will be addressed, etc. 4.17 an operator with a multiple pipelines with multiple business unit with the PHMSA pipeline safety required that the operator to do with a single baseline assessment plan with the entire company with the kin operator with the create with the multiple plans aligned with the operating unit's internal management practices. 418, and specified by the PHMSA pipeline safety experiment with the schedule and base assessment plan. 61, what are acceptable integrity assessment methods? 62, are the different requirements of the inspection pipeline with the area with a high volatile liquid? 63, are the different requirements of the inspection overhead with the suspension pipeline bridges? 64, what kind of tool will the operator use to conduct the integrity assessment with the internal inspection? 65, what type of the pressure test can be used to assess the pipeline integrity? 67, can internal inspection be performed only with the deformation tool announced the pipeline demonstrate with the corrosion with the non-primary with the integrity with the threat with a specific pipeline segment? 68, will the PHMSA pipeline establish safety established criteria the minimum acceptable inline inspection tool capability are low magnetic flux leakage tools acceptable must have a resolution tools be used? 69, for operative to have a line pipe and save the pressure testing requirement to satisfy with the save the requirement of the suffice or satisfied integrity assessment requirement of the integrity management rule. 69, what are the acceptable integrity assessment with the ERW pipe or in lap well the pipe suspectable seam failure? 611, A, with the evaluation seems suspectable one-time determination. 615, reduction of operation provide with equivalent level of safety produced with the subpart E with the hydrostatic test high pressure reduction acceptable integrity assessment method. 616, will PHMSA pipeline allow the liquid operative with the direct assessment process allow with the gas transmission integrity management rule will accept the other technology for the integrity assessment? C195 452 C1C with the N616, can I perform assessment with the MFL2 without using the runifying with the deformation tool? 618, if an operator chooses to assess the pipeline using external corrosion direct with the assessment, does it have another assessment method of assessment of the deformation anomalies for the dents and gouges and grooves? 619, after the direct assessment requirements contain ASME B31-8S 2001 standard Apple has a liquid pipeline. 20, the rule 195.588 permanent operative the direct assessment of the depth of the threat stress of the corrosion cracking. 621, can the operative with the indirect assessment of the external corrosion direct assessment that is not listed in the table 2 of the NACERP 0502 2008 if the learning some of the imposed assessments after the change of the result of the external corrosion direct assessment there is their time limit to reassess the covered segment if the guideline of the waiver of the ultrasonic test used in part of the external corrosion direct assessment process consider the other technical requirement notifying notification. 624, 628 25, does the closed internal survey online survey qualify with other technology? 628, what are the definition of complementary technologies for the selection of the external corrosion direct assessment indirect inspection tools? Can an operator aggregate the external corrosion direct assessment region for the process of the determine some of the recent common factors? Features. 630, what does the PHMS exhibit the external corrosion direct assessment feasible study? 631, how did sure if they have applied with the strict criteria for the first time the external corrosion direct assessment can the external corrosion direct assessment plan option be applied with a significant portion of the above the ground portion of the pipeline that could be used in ILI tools and with the hydrostatic testing? 810, with the integrity management program documentation should be available to the PHMSA pipeline inspection. How long should the integrity management and safety management related document be retained? Will the PHMSA pipeline system review operator notification formally respond to the operator while the will the PHMSA pipeline safety communicate respond to the specific company notification with the broader industry? 12.7, how will the operator know the PHMSA pipeline safety object for the to its notification? Guidance information. 1. If the rule requires the operator to have the written baseline assessment plan with the line pipe with include with the method selected schedule for the completion of the explanation assessment of the evaluation risk factors could be the establishing schedule also record the documentation based on each of the plan prior. 2. The deadlines completing the baseline assessment category 1, category 2 pipe defined 195.452A with a half path and practically speaking the requirements for the perform the baseline assessment should only to category 3 pipeline pipe newly constructed for the converted pipe with roll low stress pipelines that affect the undefined segment area of the category 1-2 pipe with the receipt of the baseline assessment if they have not and would 195.452C would still apply the requirements for the ongoing evaluation assessment not based on the line assessment are covered in 194.452J. Thus the assessment issue of the assessment method selection assessment interval with the reassessment should be decided 194.452J, 194.452C with the preamble of the final rule provided the one important piece of the clarifying guidance for the operator selecting the pressure testing method of the integrity assessment. Operational Office of Pipeline Safety except for the operator to everything in the method of integrity assessment for the pipeline safety will review the corrosion control monitoring plan for the opposite segment. Office of Pipeline Safety inspectors will review the documents for the evaluating operators for the pressure test assessment method. Federal Register Volume 65, number 232, Friday, December 1st, 2000, Rules and Regulation, page 75 of 396, 195.12C1. 3C 195.12C 2 3C C specify the baseline of the mounting deck the roll low stress line but they could affect with the undefined segment area of the provided deadlines. These assessment must complete with the analogs 195.452 B3 195.452 D1 respectively, thus the operator failed to develop the baseline assessment plan. Complete the baseline assessment for the roll low stress line with the undefined segment area within the deadlines. It would be cited under applicable 195.12C paragraph. However, the operator with the roll low stress pipeline baseline assessment plan but it was not in compliance with 195.452C within the applicable paragraph 195.452C should be cited with such C enforcement guidelines 195.12C 1 3C 195.12C 2 3C. Selected final orders, reference 195.452C 11, Exxon Mobil Production Company, July 11, 2009. The operative that failed to use a geometric tool capable of detecting the FIV deformation LW. Chevron Pipeline Company, June 8, 2009. The MFL tool combination of the geometry tool is not adequate to assess the seam integrity of the 1970 low frequency ERW line pipe. Link Energy October 18, 2006. Operator failed. Documented capability assessment method is have the seam integrity of the pre-1970 ERW pipe light will lap well with the suspected longitudinal seam failures. Alright. Navajo Refining Company operator used the tool with the non-capable assessing seam integrity. They must assess the segment LFREW pipe with the methodology capable of assessing seam integrity with the provided the engineering analysis. Give the pipeline the down suspected seam failure. So High Plains Pipeline, June 17, 2010. Operated in pipelines of the LFREW line pipe would have the non-completely long seam evaluation process of the line pipe in certain cases that all the respondents failed to perform stress corrosion cracking examination of the pipeline. The Arquello Incorporated, June 30, 2009. Operator failed to use the adequate pipeline integrity being assessed method of the baseline assessment plan. The geometry tool would not use the conjunction of MFL tools. QEP field service March 4th, 2010. Operator failed to perform 8-hour pressure test for the buried propane pipeline as part of the company's baseline assessment. Instead of the operator only performed 4-hour tests and adequate length of the time for the pipeline that cannot be visually inspected. Select final order reference 195.452C12. As October 2012, no final orders have been issued. In paragraph 1 of the NOO that was issued and summarized below. Penn Octane Corporation, May 20, 2004. Operator failed to identify the plant and hydrostatic depth and initial construction hydro test on the baseline assessment. Selection final order reference 195.452C13. Key Pipeline Limited, December 11, 2000. The integrated management program did not contain the evaluation risk factors establishing time intervals between assessment. Selected final order reference 195.452C2 for the key pipeline. The December 11, 2006. The integrated management plan did not contain guidance directing the personnel the document supporting justification revision integrated management plan. Operator must amend the integrated management plan to ensure the support of the justification revision integrated management integrity management program and documented. Exxon Mobil, July 2009. Operator with the integrated management plan lacks process adding or removing pipeline segments from its asset inventory. Exxon Mobil must amend the procedure include the process for the adding or removing the associated asset for the integrity management program. Bellow Force A Pipeline, June 10, 2006. The operator must amend the integrated management program BAP and consolidate all the portions of the system with the operator with the also name of the BAP and include the process for the revising BAP provide the document of those revisions. Example of probable violation inadequate procedure. 1. Failure to develop the baseline assessment. 2. Failure to require elements of the baseline assessment. 3. The failure to include all segments that could affect the high consequent area in the baseline assessment. 4. Assessment method within the baseline assessment were not appropriate for the pipeline specific condition risk factors identified each segment. Selecting adequate method as low frequency electrical resistant welding and pipe lap weld the suspected longitudinal seam failure to provide adequate technical adjustments to low frequency electrical resistant weld and lap weld. The pipe is not suspected of the seam integrity issue. The failure to adequately specify the assessment method for all segments of the baseline assessment plan. Failure to adequately justify assessment of the baseline assessment plan. Failure to provide you for the deformation tool. The act will not require the excavation of the MFL tool runs. Failure to require the notification of PHMS when using other technology. 11. Failure to adequate documentation of the baseline assessment program. 12. The reason for the modification baseline assessment program was inadequate missing. 13. Assessment schedule does not begin within the high risk pipe. Depending on the circumstance, for the example of the list for the section made inadequate proceed with a non-probable violation. Enforcement activity of the issue with a notice of amendment. Notice probable violation with a warning letter. Section 3 with the enforcement procedure that provide the guidance and select the appropriate enforcement Example: the evidence integrity management plan or program of applicable portions show the admission of the deficiency baseline assessment program integrity management framework baseline assessment plan. 4. Record to demonstrate the deficiency adequate and accuracy baseline assessment plan. 5. Risk analysis result other information value to determine the risk associated with the individual segment to justify the selection of the assessment method. 6. Risk assessment risk analysis result all of the selected segment risk rankings, other information you install with the risk-based schedule of conducting baseline assessment. 7. The criteria you the selected assessment method, the different integrity of the threat. 4. 8. Documentation compensation where they operate with the contractor person will identify with the inconsistent deficiency and accuracy regarding the baseline assessment plan. 9. Maps or other records showing the assets included the baseline assessment, other special notations. Our enforcement guideline has Liquid Integrity Management Part 195, March 18, 2013. Code Section 195.452D1 is section entitled Pipeline Integrity Management High Consequence Area. Existing code language when most operators leave the baseline system operatively complete base assessment. Follow the time period to complete the assessment before the following deadlines. If the pipeline then complete the baseline, baseline is no later than the following scheduled date according to schedule prior assessments and an assessment of the 50% of the line pipe with expected expedited basis beginning with the rise of the pipeline no later than Category 1, March 31st, 2008, September 30th, 2004. Category 2, February 17, 2009, August 16, 2005. Category 3, day of the pipeline begins is not applicable. Origin code 195.70.65, Federal Register 7530.78, December 1st. 2000, last amended 996.76, Title 65, Federal Register 469.11, July 17, 2000. Interpretation summaries, advisory bulletin, alert notices, material. Other reference for the material. API 1160 with the pipeline managing system and integrity has with liquid pipeline latest edition PHMSA liquid integrity management supplemented guidance document baseline assessment plan. PHMSA has liquid integrity management FAQs. 1.4 what are the baseline assignment for the completed 1.15 how do they require data for the completing 50% 100% of the assessment apply with the category 2 pipeline acquired with the line operator they had more than 500 miles of pipeline made about May 29, 2011. 4.13 for the purpose of the immediately deadline for completing the baseline assessment, and the day of the assessment considered to be the day with the tool run complete with the preliminary data with the receipt of the evaluation of the inline inspection result of the complete. 4.15 if the operator develops a single baseline assessment then cover the bowl for the intra and interstate with the pipeline but it does need to complete the assessment 50% of the pipeline mile affect with the high consequent area of the apply with the bowl the intra and interstate with the line segment adjust and interstate with the line segment mileage should come with the plan identify with the line segment the intra and interstate when specified does the PHMSA pipeline safety expect with the schedule of the baseline assessment plan guidance information 195.452 D1 identify the deadline for the baseline assessment must be completed each for the category pipe the deadlines long past category 1-2 operating pipeline with the future probable violation paragraph likely to involve the category 3 pipeline newly constructed for the converted pipeline newly constructed for the converted pipeline must have the baseline assessment completed by the day of the pipe begins and then selected fire and water 1 195.452 D1 Kyatone Pipeline Corporation for the operator did not come, and then these are those are guidance informations. I think I'm gonna quit not read their individual companies, but when it goes to the, example the probable violation adequate perceive the baseline assessment not complete the prescribed time frame of the base assessment not complete within 50 examine the technology for the consequent area of the required data. 3 baseline systems that begin with the highest risk pipe of the base assessment but did not perform newly constructed for the converted pipe prior to the operation. Example, the evidence integrity management plan or program that applicable portion show the admission for the deficiency of the baseline assessment schedule. 2. The integrity management framework. 3. The baseline assessment plan. 4. Records of demonstrate for the failure to complete the assessment with the required with the deadlines. 5. The risk assessment managed resolve of the risk rankings. Other information just level the risk-based schedule with the conducting baseline assessment. 6. The documentation, conservation, operation of the contractor personnel to identify the deficiency and adequate the baseline assessment with the completion schedule assessment. Other special notes. Alright, Hazardous Liquid Integrity Management Part 195, March 18th, 2013, 195.452D, Pipeline Integrity Management High Consequent Areas. This is code. And D, when most operators complete the baseline assessment, operators must complete the baseline assessment as resolve the prior assessment. Satisfied with the requirements of paragraph C11 of the section pipeline first column of the following table the operators may either the integrity assessment with the conduct with the day with the second column if the integrity assessment method comply with the section. However, the operator with the prior assessment if the baseline assessment the operator must reassess the line pipe according to the J3 of the section table as follows. Pipeline category 1 date January 1st 1996 category 2 February 15 1997 origin code 195.70.65 Federal Register for 753 378, December 1st, 2000. Last submitted 19676A, 67, the Federal Register 46911. July 17, 2002. Interpretation summaries, advisory bulletins, notice and summaries, other reference materials, API 1160 Managing System Integrity has Liquid Pipeline latest edition, PHMSA Liquid Integrity Management Supplemental Guidance Baseline Assessment Plan. Guidance information 195.452D with the example of the operator menu with the assessment form before the rule was issued. The baseline assessment and provide the data of the category 1, 2 before the assessment may not be used for the baseline assessment. Simple for the baseline assessment deadlines category 1 and 2 pipe passes all operators shall have complete with the initial assessment, unlike with the 195.452D, which should be collected with the future enforcement capable as October 2002 for the final orders have been issued with the 195.452D. Alright, examples of probable violation and adequate procedure. 1, failure to adequately for the use of the prior assessment of the baseline assessment. 2, failure to follow the baseline assessment of the prior assessment. 3, prior assessments conducted before the date of the 195.452D2 was included baseline assessment. And 4, prior assessment was included baseline assessment plan, but it did not comply with the 195.4C11. Our integrity example: the evidence integrity management plan and program portion show over the mission of the deficiency baseline integrity management framework baseline assessment plan. 4, record of demonstrate the deficiency adequacy of the prior assessment baseline assessment plan. 5, documentation conversation with the operator contractor personnel that identify the inconsistency, deficiency, and accuracy regarding the use of the prior assessment over the baseline assessment. 6, operating manual for the segment that assess the use of the prior assessment, other special notations. Alright, has the Liquid Integrity Management 195, March 18, 2013, code section 195.452D3, section titled Pipeline Integrity Management High Consequence Area, existing code language D. When most operators complete the baseline assessment, the operator must complete with the baseline assessment. Follow newly identified areas with information available. The information analysis paragraph G of the section Census Bureau map the population data density around pipelines with the chain of this. So follow the definition 195.450 high population area of the unmother populated area. Operators must incorporate the area of the baseline assessment high consequence area with 1 year of the data they identify with the operator must complete the baseline assessment of the line pipe that could effectively newly identify with the high consequence within 5 years of the day, but isn't identified with the 2. The operator must incorporate the newly usually unusual sense of the area into the baseline assessment with the 1 year of the day, but is identified. Operator must complete with the base assessment of the line pipe that could affect the newly identified high consequence area within 5 years of the day, but the area is defined. Origin code 1957065 Federal Register 75378 December 1st, 2000. Last amendment 1977667 the Federal Register 46911 July 17, 2002. Interpretation summary of the advisory bulletin alert note summary. Other reference material and source of the API 1160 managing system and integrity of the head of liquid pipelines. PHMSA head of liquid integrity management frequently asked question. 19 was newly identified hazardous high consequence area would include the program. 1110 frequency schedule with a high consequence area of the map on the National Pipeline Mapping System would be made with the PHMSA pipeline safety announced to provide the public notice to change 111. How would the PHMSA pipeline safety track chain with a high consequence area information over the time that data field of the family operator be able to clearly distinguish the new information from the old National Pipeline Mapping System? 4.3 under what condition the baseline assessment be modified? Guidance information that newly identified area of the career with the sense of the last updated operator's application segment of the could affect with the high consequence area that would be affected with the expansion of high population or other populations identified with the new sense of how with the new population high consequence area with the not just restricted those officially identified with the sense of the operator reasonable with the boundary condition along the pipeline and population encroaches up of the right of way so that it meets 195.450 population high consequence area and consequence area. The definition new subdivision formerly low population area of the pipeline site 15 administrators over the operator will identify with the new high consequence area with the pipeline could affect with the new area of the integrity management program. Or the operator's information risk of the BU identified population encroachment with the use of the pipeline with a high consequence area with the application information risk now for the purpose of identification on new high consequence area. The deficiency adequate generally 195.452D. 3 should be cited with the 195.452D. With the 195.452D3 should be cited if the operator would fail to do the high consequence area of the failure to incorporate the pipe segment that could effectively newly identify high consequence area with the integrated management fail with the schedule with the baseline assessment pipeline effective newly identified the area with 1 year fail with the conduct of the baseline assessment of the piping effective newly identified area within 5 years segment should be identified by the operator previously with the missing knockage of the newly identified. Despite the fact that the baseline assessment has been completed, operators still reasonable for the scheduling baseline assessment pipe with the effect of the newly fitted for the high consequent area of the population unidentified. Un, undefined segment area with 1 year with the completing of the baseline assessment within 5 years of the new area defined. Selected fine orders. I'm not reading those. Example: the probable violation adequate procedure for one. Failure to adequate provide the identification of new high consequent area, both population and undefined section area, with the according to the section of the operating integrity management program baseline assessment. 2. Failure to adequate follow procedure of the integrity management program identified with the new high consequent area. 3. Failure to adequately conduct with a periodic re-examination and update with the list of the boundary high consequent area. 4. Failure to perform the adequate analysis of the high consequent area location information, determine the change of the segment identification result of the necessary. 5. Failure to adequately use local knowledge field personnel input of other sort for the high consequent area location information. Failure to identify new pipeline segment that they could affect with the newly identified high consequent area. 7. Failure to incorporate the newly identified high consequent area in the pipeline segment that they could affect with the baseline assessment within 1 year of the date of the area is identified. 8. Failure to complete the baseline assessment of any line pipe that could affect with the newly identified high consequent area and within 5 years of the day the area is identified. Depending on the circumstance, some of the example listed in this section may be the adequate plan for achieving the non-probable violation, thus enforcement tools to address the issue, whether there will be notice amendment of the no probable violation warning letter, section 3 enforcement procedure that provide the guidance in selecting appropriate enforcement action. Example: the evidence integrity management program plan and program applicable portion shown by the emission deficiency approach to identify with the new highly consequent area to identify the pipeline segment that can affect with the new high consequent area schedules of these pipelines. 2. Integrity management framework. 3. Base assessment plan. 4. Assessment schedule to pick the pipeline effective newly identified high consequent area that will be assessed. 5. Records demonstrate the deficiency adequate with the baseline assessment plan program as an assessment of the schedule of the pipeline segment effective newly identified high consequent areas. Risk analysis result of the other information you determine the risk associated with the individual segment justify selection of the adjustment method for the piping of the affected newly identified areas. 7. Risk analysis result segment risk rankings and other information you establish a risk-based schedule conducting baseline assessment pipe segment newly identified areas. 8. Criteria used in selected method of different integrity threats and documented compensation operated with the contractor personnel with identified inconsistency deficiencies and of the other inadequacy regarding identification newly identified high consequent area identification of the pipeline but that could affect newly identified high consequent areas and assessment method schedule with these segments. Notations or enforcement guidelines. Hazardous liquid integrity management 195 March 18, 2013, code section 195.452E, section title baseline pipeline integrity management high consequent area existing code. What are the risk factors establishing assessment code schedule both of the baseline and continual integrity assessment? When an operator must establish the integrity assessment schedule prioritize the pipeline segment for the assessment. See paragraphs E1 through J3 of the section. Operator must space of the assessment schedule for the risk of these reflect with the risk condition on the pipeline segment. The factors operator must consider include but are not limited to 1. Result of the previous integrity assessment effective type size assessment method of the conduct defect growth rate. 2. Pipe size, material manufacturing information coding, type of the condition, seam type of the leak history, repair history, cathodic protection history. 5. Product transported. 4. Product transported. 5. Operating stress level of 6. Existing projected areas active areas. 7. Local environmental effect for the could affect the pipeline corrosivity, soil associations, climatic. 8. Geotechnical hazardous. 9. 8. Physical support segment used in the cable suspension rigs. 2. Appendix C of this part provided by the guidance of the risk factors. Origin code 1957065 Federal Register 75378 December 1st, 2000. Last minute interpretation summaries, advisory bulletin, and notice summaries. The API 1160 Managing System Integrity Management had liquid pipelines. Part 195 Appendix C. 2. Risk factors establishing frequency assessment. C3. Safety risk indicator tables of the leak history, volume, and line side, the age of the pipeline product transported. PHMSA liquid integrity management supplemented guideline documents based on assessment plan, breaking the risk analysis. Rakowski, the Honor Mark Rosenark. PHMSA had liquid and liquid integrity management frequency acquisition questions. 4.7. Whether the operator consider the prioritization pipeline segment and subsequent reassessment. And 6.2. That the different requirements of inspection pipelines carrying highly volatile liquids. Are there different requirements of inspection overhead suspension pipelines bridges. 811. What kind of information must the integrity perform periodic evaluation, reassessment, interval determinations. Also, 814. When objects probably consider the external condition of the earthquake with the fault lines, mining substance with the integrity management program, will these classify with a high consequence area or require special repair provisions? 818. Can operated include the potential business consequence, curtailments, plant shutdowns, and risk determinations. Guidance information, 185.452 follows minimum set of the risk of the factors the operator must consider the determined risk basis assessment schedule the requirements applied with both original base assessment, subsequent reassessment. Practical operators typically should include the factors addition listed with the section of the adequate character of the risk of the associated segment of the can affect the high consequent area. If the operator failed to consider one of the risk factors listed in 195.452E with the end does not provide the adequate technical information and technical justification for the given consider the given factor probable violation paragraph is likely. Alright, 3. If there is one or more probable violation, adequate to proceed with the deal with the inadequate conservation risk factor proposed compliant with the NOA must comply explicitly direct for the operator with to consider all the risk of the factors provided the information risk analysis evaluation assessment plans. In determining necessary preventive mitigation members in general 195.452E with the risk factors determined in assessment schedule the frequency reassessment are performed. 5. With the record with regard to requirement of 195.54.52J, the review of the establishment reassessment interval, the operator issue with the risk of 195.452E with the 195.452J, the state. An operator must establish the assessment interval based on the factors specified in the paragraph E with the section analyze the result of the last integrity assessment and the information analysis required by the paragraph G of this section. If the operator has a risk-based schedule to admit the operator some of the risk of the 195.452E and the methodology then 195.452E should generally be decided whether the operator has failed to develop a risk-based assessment schedule that does not base the reassessment interval of the risk 195.452J that should give them be set with the note 195.452E. Part 195.452E deals on the risk factors and the established assessment schedule that not only risk assessments refer to the information analysis required 194.452G support the integrity management program decision adequately mentioned for the other issue with the operator risk analysis should generally be set with the 195.452G 194 or not 194.5.452E or 194.452E 1 and 195.452J3 must both require consideration result of the most integrity assessment establishing assessment schedule. Either the code citation could be even as the case where the operator did not consider the result of the most recent integrity assessment with establishing reassessment schedule. However, the operator does not consider the result of the most recent assessment newly converted public category 3 in the developing baseline assessment schedule of the 195.452E1 should be precise with assuming the course of the newly converted pipeline had previously integrity assessment. Unique risk factors proposed transportation ethanol biofuels must consider the operator transport commodities. And then the selected final orders at 195.452E. I'm not going to read. Example of the probable violation adequate procedures. Failure to adequately consider all risk factors of 195.452E with establishing assessment code. Failure to adequately consider the relative of the risk of the effect of for the risk of the condition of the pipeline for the establishing assessment schedule for the failure to adequately consider the suspectable failure to low frequency of the ERW piping failure adequacy consider the relevant threats for the pipeline integrity establishing risk-based assessment schedule for the external and internal corrosion, corrosion, cracking, material problem, third-party damage, operator, producer, area of the equipment failure, natural force damage in construction areas. Failure adequately include the result of the most recent completed integrity assessment, determined reassessment intervals 195.452J that could be also cited. 6. Failure adequately consider the impact of the risk of the different commodity of the transport. 7. The failure adequate inadequate address the unique risk of the associated with the ethanol, biofuels pipeline transporting these commodities. Or depending on the circumstances, some of the examples listed in this section may be the inadequate tool, inadequate plans or procedures for the non-probable violations. If the enforcement tool over the issue of the notice of an amendment and not notice of probable violation warning letter. Section 3 is an enforcement procedure that provides the guidance for selecting appropriate enforcement action. For example, if evidence of the integrity management plan or program of applicable portion show the commission for the deficiency risk factor that you've established risk-based assessment schedule, baseline assessment plan, ongoing reassessment plan, risk 3 risk assessment, risk analysis of the risk module, documentation include the risk factors considered, records of documentation demonstrating efficiency and accuracy, consideration risk factors used to establish risk-based assessment schedule. 5. Documented conversation operated with the contractor personnel then identify the inconsistency, efficiency, and accuracy regarding the risk factors even establishing risk-based assessment schedule. Alright, 195 has liquid part 195, code section 195 452 F1, and we're on page 50.